The last site and where most of the action happened was in Los Alamos, New Mexico. Here is where the construction of the bombs came to a complete finish and were further researched for maximum efficiency in the war. This site consisted of around 46,000 acres and actually displaced a whole school. The government wanted to keep this whole site so secret. Infants born at the site had to have their place of birth changed to a P.O. box somewhere in Albuquerque. Testing of the first bomb was tested south of Los Alamos in a site in Alamogordo, New Mexico. The test drop was codenamed the Trinity Test and occurred on July 16, 1945. Technology played a key role in the progress of World War II, due to the idea that more advanced weapons could win the war. The atomic bomb to this day is considered the most powerful weapon of war because it has the power to kill large amounts of people from far distances within seconds. In this technological program, the scientists focused on the gun-type bombs that use uranium and plutonium, which meant that fissionable materials would be shot into each other. This project created 4 bombs in total, 2 of which were used in the bombing of Japan. One was tested beforehand, and the other has yet to be used. One of the bombs was codenamed Little Boy. This bomb was a uranium bomb that used explosives to crash pieces of uranium together. The second bomb, Fat Man, was more difficult to build. The third bomb was a testing bomb codenamed Gadget. That was created in fear of a questionable reliability.
A national survey taken at random in 1999 ranked the dropping of the atomic bomb as the top news story of the century by journalists and the public. The project was taken over and controlled by the Department of Energy, who saved parts of the project because they had a sense of belonging to the project and the outcome of the project, as they documented and relayed the information to government officials. This was a very long process, including uranium mining, melting, disposing of waste, uranium isotope separation, plutonium production, bomb design and development, and bomb testing and effects. Scientific discoveries about the atom led to curiosity and development of the nuclear bomb. Leo Szilard created the idea of a nuclear chain reaction in 1933. The main problem with this idea was finding the right isotopes of uranium and plutonium for the reactors. Relations with foreign countries proved to be a vital aspect of the Manhattan Project. Countries such as Great Britain and Canada contributed to the scientific research and development of the nuclear warheads. Great Britain was influential in the creation of the atomic bomb due to the large amounts of money that was contributed to the project, and also sending scientists to go and study in the American laboratories. The thought of the bomb was initially created with the undisputed decision of being used. It was just a matter of who, when, and where. The original intention behind the creation of the atomic bomb was to be used against Germany. But when the Germans signed the unconditional surrender on May 7, 1945, the aim of the bomb shifted towards Japan. At first, the British was larger and more advanced in the nuclear technology, but soon the two countries joined sides to create a larger and more powerful project to be more efficient against our opponents. The Quebec Agreement was signed by the two countries, stating that they would not use the bomb against each other and would not use it against a third party without the other's approval. The information would also need to be kept a secret regarding nuclear advancement. British scientists Rudolf Peierls and Otto Frisch calculated the critical mass of uranium, which is 235. They predicted the power of the atomic bomb to be equivalent to thousands of tons of dynamite. The first atomic bomb was tested in Los Alamos, New Mexico, in May of 1945. to observe the monitoring instruments that they would use in the following bombs. A 100-ton bomb would be exploded around 800 yards from the Trinity test site. This explosion was even a preliminary event to the bomb dropping that was considered the real practice bomb. The amount of caution and pre-planning that went into the project was immense. The actual test bomb, nicknamed Gadget, wouldn't be dropped until June 16, 1945. The difference between the first practice bomb and the second practice bomb, aka Gadget, is that Gadget contained nuclear power, while the first test bomb was made up of standard bomb material for the time, but was just enhanced in size and power to demonstrate the force and magnitude of what was to come out of the project. Nearly 4 years after the bombs were dropped on Japan, the Soviets had detonated their first bomb. Spies were plentiful for the Soviets due to a belief in some people that communism seemed ideal and they wanted to help the Soviets. Or they might have believed that one country having control over all the nuclear power in the world seemed monopolistic and wanted to leak the information to create a fairly ordered world. Due to these ideas, recruitment for Soviet spies within the United States was fairly easy.
Events during the period of World War II seem to be drastic and dramatic. It is almost impossible to forget the destruction and death caused by the war and the actions of each country. Nothing quite compares to the destructive force and sheer power of the atomic bomb. The creation of this weapon of mass destruction was a climatic point in our innovations as a country as far as weapons go. Having such a powerful weapon meant that they could end the war with just a brief bombing on enemy territory. The Manhattan Project led to much advancement in technology for military purposes and an increase in research and scientific studies that contributed to issues and complications with foreign relations. Around the summer of 1939, Einstein gained the knowledge that Germany had started a nuclear development program and wanted to inform the United States about their advancements. After fleeing Germany and Nazi persecution at the same time, he went to America and stated his knowledge and concerns about the German nuclear programs in a letter he wrote addressed to FDR. In December of 1941, Vannevar Bush headed the project in America under the direction of the Office of Scientific Research and Development. The roots of the project can trace back to Enrico Fermi, a physicist who left Germany for America, who encouraged the United States to begin atomic research.
The Manhattan Project triggered the arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union. During this time period, both countries made more nuclear weapons than they ever used or needed, which contributed to the fear and panic at the home front. The creation and testing of the nuclear bomb had 4 main sites scattered across the U.S., one of which was here in our own state of Washington. At the Hanford site in eastern Washington, codenamed Location W, plutonium was produced, cooled, and then added to the finished product of the bomb at another site. At Hanford's peak of productivity, it housed and employed 51,000 people and ran around 900 buses just to keep the site going. Another site was built in 1942 as a pilot plant for plutonium production in the Red Gate Woods outside of Chicago. This site was able to produce 2 short tons of uranium, most of which was used solely for research purposes. An additional 3 short tons of uranium was given to them from the Westinghouse lamp plant, but was produced in a hastily manner and lacked the quality necessary for maximum efficiency. The first nuclear reactor was created at this site with the approval of Arthur Compton and the help of Metallurgical Laboratory. This project site soon became very large and required construction of another site to continue the research and development. The site that produced the most for the creation of the bomb contributing to 63% of the cost, was the Oak Ridge facility. This purchase of around 60,000 acres displaced around 1,000 families in the area. Publicly protesting and legal actions led to no answer from the government. This site was the largest and most active while it employed around 82,000 people and consumed 1/6 of the country's electrical power at its peak. The main value of this site was its rapid and quality production of uranium-235. In the United States alone, hundreds of Americans provided secret information to the Soviet Union, and the quality of the Soviet sources in Britain was even better. For most of the project's duration, the depth of the Soviet infiltration was unknown. In 1946, the United States and Britain deciphered the code the Russians used to communicate on the telegraph. The decoding project was codenamed Venona and remained a secret until 1995. They kept this secret to avoid giving the evidence away and having it be on record in court, so instead, they kept it a secret and used it to help uncover the identity of spies leaking information to the Russians. As the encryption technology increased, so did the amount of spies that were uncovered. Around a dozen spies were either executed or incarcerated, but an unknown amount still got away with their betrayal. Some of the spies convicted of espionage were Klaus Fuchs, Theodore Hall, Harry Gold, David Greenglass, and Ethel and Julius Rosenberg.
After World War II, the government created the United States Atomic Energy Commission to control the development of the nuclear science and also have it be used as a peacekeeping tactic. When the Atomic Energy Commission was founded, there were also hopes of using energy to create a project that could benefit the global population by helping with issues such as promoting world peace, improving public welfare, and while doing all of this, strengthening the global economy with free competition in private markets. Truman signed the Atomic Energy Act on August 1st, 1946, putting all of these policies into play. Once this act was signed, all of the reactors became government-owned. By 1974, around 233 nuclear reactors were either in operation or under construction. The science that came out of this project benefited the whole world with scientific advancements such as radiation machines, the treatment for Parkinson's disease, the preservation of cells for transfusion, and ways to create artificial hearts. The facilities of the projects have turned into national laboratories that continue researching with nuclear technology. This technology helped create programs like the AEC, the Energy Research and Development Administration, and the Department of Energy. Eisenhower suggested that powers should contribute their portions of uranium and fissionable materials into a stockpile and contribute them towards an International Atomic Energy Agency. This agency was established on October 1st, 1951 in Vienna, Australia. During this period of chaotic rule and misled conceptions, one thing stayed true: the destructive force of the atomic bomb. This new advancement from the beginning of the project caused controversy and betrayal on both sides. European scientists fleeing to the United States to help the American nuclear project to help them combat the Axis, along with high-ranking United States officials betraying their own country and leaking information to the Soviets. Soon we had a nuclear arms race between the United States and Russia. Extensive testing made sure that the outcome of the bombs would go as planned, powerful enough to end with the war with a single drop. This force that was contained in the bomb would be the most powerful military weapon ever used in warfare to this day. The impact reigns through our society and keeps us all in fear of what could happen.
General Groves was lying on the ground in the prone position, facing away from the blast. What he said was going through his mind was, what was he going to do when the timer got to zero and nothing happened?
At 5:30 a.m., July 16, 1945. The world entered the atomic age with an intense flash, a sudden wave of heat, followed by a tremendous shock wave. The ball of fire extended 40,000 feet. The bomb packed a punch equivalent to 20,000 tons of TNT, the high end of most of the scientists' predictions, completely vaporizing the steel tower and heating the desert sand into glass for a radius of 800 yards.
What got me was, I hadn't thought, the heat of the fireball would heat my face exactly as its sunrise.
It became brighter and rose, and I knew that soon it will be used over Japan, and then it will not be just an experiment.